The woman says, "Hey, how's it going?" And she was in the waiting room and I said, "Good, how are you?" She said, "So, you wrote a book. How's it going?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's going great. It was so much fun. I had a blast." I have no idea who the woman is. No clue. My
No,
husband
no idea how she knew. How
no
did she
idea.
know? Hey everyone, it's Melanie Johnson for another podcast here, and we are talking book publishing, of course. I'm one of the co-owners of Elite Online Publishing, along with Jen Foster. So today we have one of our authors who's become a best-selling author, Sarah Conklin. Fundamentally Frugal is her book, and I'm so excited to have it on her. She's been doing great things with her book, and it just came out in January, so just a few months ago. Sarah, welcome. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
So tell us, what inspired you to write a book for your brand in the first place?
I have wanted to write a book since I was about 5 years old. So I started blogging in 2018. So I had some history with writing and some practice. I was an English major in college, and it just happened to be the perfect time. It happened to be the right moment to get this book out.
Writing style, like a lot of people, some people struggle. A book can be like a big thing. They're like, I want to do it, but it's going to take up so much time. It's like this big bear on their back. What was your process to get your book written?
I struggled with it a little bit. It was really hard for me because this book was what I felt to be kind of my legacy for
Yeah.
my family going forward, and to get all of the past stories into one book. And so for me, I struggled a lot, and I actually had to go away to the lake. I rented an Airbnb for 3 days to
Ooh,
just go and just punch it out, because trying to do it at home with all of the distractions wasn't working for me. So I
yeah.
had to actually go and tunnel vision myself, shut the rest of the world out, and just get it done.
I love that. I think everybody in their dreams wants to do that. They want to just go away, go to the beach or go somewhere and say, I'm just writing. And it sounds so theatrical in a way, like you see it in the movies. Oh, they're going to the cabin to write.
Right. It felt just like that. It really did.
Now, did you use an editor or did you have friends edit the book? What did you do?
No, I did. You guys suggested Eileen to me, and my goodness, she was amazing. She's not just an editor for me, she was like a writing coach as well. And then
Yeah.
we became friends. I mean, our phone conversations were hours long because we were both in the same spot, in the same season of life. So she really
Yeah.
understood the message that I was trying to get across, and she really got my voice. She was amazing. I could not have done it without her.
I love Eileen. Eileen and I, our kids went to school together since they were young. We have pictures of when they're like 6 years old, 5 years old. So we've known each other forever. I love her. And people who work with her, they just fall in love with her like you did. She's
Yes.
one of our many editors that we have here. So I'm glad that was a great experience for you. And it is important to have an editor. Some people use their friends, but I always say you should use someone who at least has experience with editing. If you have a friend who teaches English, yay, that's okay. But it shouldn't just be your neighbor that's reading your book. That can be okay maybe for proofing. And there's also
Right.
things like Grammarly and things like that that you can run it through, but it's not the same as having someone really dissect your book and going through it and taking that time, love, and attention with it like you had.
Yeah. And I had friends ask if they wanted me to edit. Oh, I love editing. I'd be more than happy to edit. But there's something about a stranger giving you
Yeah.
feedback. It's very different than your best friend.
Yeah. And we always say it's good if you have the bandwidth to do beta readers, which are kind of sample readers, but they're not like your best friend. There's someone who would actually buy your book off the shelf because they're interested, like your ideal client, your ideal reader that would get your book and give a sample to them. And we have a questionnaire that they can give if they're doing beta readers, which I think is a good idea too. And then tell us about, you published with us. So tell us kind of how that process went for you and the book launch.
It was actually a lot of fun. I never imagined, and I say this to people all the time, I never imagined how difficult and how much work it is to write a book. But it was also so much fun. The process, I worked with Jen with the cover, and that was the most fun. You
Yeah.
guys do this contest thing, right? Where I think we had 450 submissions for book covers, and we had to narrow it down to five. And then friends and family and my email list, they got to vote on which was their favorite. And that to me was probably the most fun.
And you know what's great about that too? When you do that, you're engaging your audience. Then all of a sudden you're putting it out there and saying, hey, I have a book. And then when they're part of it and they're going to judge the cover and put their 2 cents in, then they feel like they're vested. Oh, when is your book coming out? And they're more likely to buy your book than if you just went, oh, my book is out today, right? You've got to start that conversation early on and get them vested and going in with it. And then tell us about the book launch, the actual week and the day that you launched.
I'm super lucky because I've been blogging since 2018 in my YouTube channel. And because I have a pretty substantial email list, I
Yep.
already have an audience. I already have a platform. I
Mhm.
already have a community. So the launch itself was super exciting and it was phenomenal. It was bigger than I imagined it could be. Jen and I were just, she was texting me constantly, telling me all the great things that were happening and all of the lists that I was conquering and how well it was going. So that's a really great advantage of doing a book while you already have the community to help
Yes.
support you.
Now, how did you reach out? Did you post on social media? Did you do anything on YouTube? What did you do specifically?
Mostly it was my email list. It
Okay.
was, and once it launched, I did a little social media. I don't do a whole lot of short form social media. So TikTok and Instagram and YouTube shorts aren't really my forte.
Yep.
But I did post in my community on YouTube. The email was big, a little bit of short form and word of mouth.
Yeah, that's important. And since your book is launched, like I noticed on your YouTube channel, you have a link to your book down there, which is very important, right? Because some people
Yes.
don't get to do that. Where
Right.
else are you putting a link to your book? Is it in your email signature? What else have you done to let people know, your list know that you have this book?
Yes. Every single YouTube video, I announce it, tell them that they have a link on the top of my website itself, right in the header. The book is there with a link to the book there. And it's also in the signature of my email list. So it's out there all the time.
And you know what? I'm going to give you a couple tips on here for your. I'm going to put my glasses back on so I can see it on your website, which your website looks amazing. I love your
Thank you.
website.
Thank you.
So I would love to see on the book part, you have it where you can buy the book. But since you've got such a robust audience already, what I would love to see here, Sarah, is offer bulk sales of your book. So people could sign on and they could buy 100 books. They might want to buy it for their school or for a group or for a company. You know what I'm saying? So it
Yeah.
could be a women's organization, could be like the eWomen's Network wants to buy a whole group of books for their audience that's coming to their conference. So if you have a place where they can fill out a form right there, we do that for on the websites we do for our authors. So make a place, I don't know who does your website, but make a place there that they can fill out a form to order bulk books from you.
Fantastic.
Another great tip. So see, you're getting like coaching here as well. That's
Love
what I love
that.
to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Another great thing for you to do is people always think of book sales as physical, right? And especially in that bulk buy, oh, they're going to buy 100 of my paperback books. But what if they bought 100 downloads of your ebook? The ebook doesn't cost you really anything. So what kind of price you could put on 100 downloads of your ebook or 1,000 downloads or unlimited downloads for a period of time. So there's a lot of variety of ways that you can use that book and monetize it in different ways. And we were just talking about having your book for free in places. And a lot of authors are like, I'm not giving my book away for free. But you have to decide if you're trying to get people more into your audience. Like,
Yeah.
what is the purpose of the book? Is it to grow your client list? Is it to grow your YouTube channel? Then you want to get your message out to as many people. So like we're offering now that we'll turn your audiobook into podcast series. So each chapter is a podcast episode. And people are like, but why would I want to do that? And I go, well, some people consume content in different ways. Like you're on YouTube, right? And you
Right.
have a book. Some people
Right.
want the book, some people want the video. Some people don't watch YouTube. They're just watching podcast or listening to podcast. So it's a whole new audience that you might not have had before.
Yeah.
So these are a different variety of ways of just expanding your view and thinking of different ways you can sell your book and different ways people can consume your book to get your end goal in there.
And I love the idea of turning it into an audiobook. I have a friend of mine who's releasing her book in May,
Yeah.
and she has turned hers into an audiobook, and I hadn't even thought of that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And we have this new tool now that we can take your voice and we can duplicate it with AI. So you don't even have to record it. If we get a big enough, we
Oh,
just need maybe the first chapter. And then we just did it for 2 authors just in the last few weeks. And they were just stunned. They're like, this just sounds just like me.
wow.
So there's all this new technology of ways, because your time is valuable, right? You got to
Sure.
say, do I want to spend 10 hours in the studio recording it? Or
Right.
you can get spend the money for a regular voice, like someone who does narration. You can do that too. But with you in particular, again, this is more coaching for you. You have a YouTube channel. People know you. They
Right.
like you. They know your voice. I think they'd want to have you read it to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that I would want to. It's just a little personal touch added to
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I would think so too. And so tell me, what do you plan to use your book? How do you plan to use your book as a marketing tool moving forward?
One of the biggest, of course, one of the biggest things is just another way to connect with my community and connect with my audience and
Mhm.
really lean into helping midlife women get to where they want to go. But I also want to use that as a means to give more know, like, trust factor, maybe lean into speaking engagements, getting on more podcasts. We
Yeah.
have a big conference in our industry. It's called FinCon. And FinCon is a big conference once a year that really caters to, in the past, has catered to the financial industries. Now it's kind of branching out so everybody gets great information from it. But I would love to be a speaker. I would love to be a speaker on stage.
Yeah.
And being an international bestselling author just gives me a little bit more boost to get there.
Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. And are you selling coaching, or what is your product or service that you sell?
So I do have a lot of digital products that I have.
Mhm.
I'm working on a course right now to get out of debt. The beta I've already gone through the beta. Now I'm just going through and tweaking the course.
Yep.
I am a financial coach. So I do offer coaching, although that's been kind of put on hold this year because of the book launch and everything else that's going on.
Right.
So there is the option to offer group coaching, offer memberships down the road.
Yeah, and you know what? Your book can all tie into that. So think about ways that you can utilize your book to get new coaching clients, right? Who do you want to send your book to that would be an ideal client? So we're all about, again, sending the book for free. Jen was just telling me she bought a book and it's on her nightstand. And I tell a story like this, and she's like, I haven't opened it yet, but I really want us to work with this guy. And I go, you know what? You're telling the story. We have a story where a guy bought a book, put it on his nightstand, and it stayed there for a year. And then eventually, he never read the book. Eventually, he just called the guy and said, I just want to work for you. I've been staring at your book for a year. In all transparency, I never read it. And I go, you're just like the story that we tell. So you want to be able to send that book, mail that book out to people that would be an ideal client for you. Send it with a personal note, maybe have a particular
Nice.
page you want them to look at. And that's a great foot in the door. So when I talk about how to use your book as a marketing strategy, think of it like a flyer that you'd send in the mail. Think of it like an email that you would send. Think about the content that you can repurpose and put into social media. Think about chapters you can talk on your YouTube that you can dissect. Different ways that you can use that content in a variety of ways, because you've already created it, to sell the products and services that you have, or open doors like for speaking engagements.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's interesting because when I was struggling to get started on the book, one of Eileen's tips was go through your blog, pull out those blog posts you've written that would be perfect chapters, and
Yeah.
then take a look at those, reevaluate, tweak, twist, add some more stuff to it. And it was a great idea. So doing that in reverse is a
Yeah.
fantastic idea as well.
And I love, one of our secret things is to put that QR code in the beginning of the book where they can go to your website
Yep.
and click in and opt in, and you have that in your book. So already someone can be looking at your book on Amazon and just go right to that page and say, I want to learn more about her, or I can
Right.
just click and go to her website, right?
Yeah.
So that's a great lead magnet to grow your audience, that it's working for you already. Have you
Yes.
had anything unusual happen because of your book so far? Have you had any wonderful things happen that you can share with us
So the
because of your book?
funniest thing is I was at the doctor's office the other day. Now we live in a pretty small town and we have a couple of Facebook pages for our town, and somebody reached out to me who runs these Facebook pages and say, "Hey, I heard you wrote a book. Do you mind if I share it?" So they shared it all over the alumni pages and they shared it everywhere. And I was in the doctor's office because I had a terrible reaction to a facial cream that I put on my face. So I needed
Yeah.
to go get a doctor's visit.
Yeah.
And the woman says, "Hey, how's it going?" And she was in the waiting room and I said, "Good. How are you?" She said, "So you wrote a book. How's it going? And I'm like, oh, it's going great. It was so much fun. I had a blast. I have no idea who the woman is. No clue. My
no,
husband
no idea how she knew. How
no
did she
idea.
know?
No clue. I got home because, again, we live in a very small town. I'm talking 6,000 people here.
Yeah.
And so I told my husband, he's, how does it feel to be a celebrity? So that was kind of fun.
You might start to get better tables at the restaurant now, right?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah. I love that. That's awesome. And more great things to come your way, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Would you recommend to other people that they should write a book for their business?
Yes. I think that in the content creation industry that I'm in, there's a plethora of ways that you can do this. I mean, you and I talked when we had our very first interview about going with Elite and the benefits of doing that. I mean, you can self-publish, you can try out for full publishing, Penguin, all of those different publishing houses.
Yeah.
But really, this to me was the very best way to do it because it's the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And I really felt that the support that Elite offered was super important to me because I'd never done this before. I mean, I wrote a blog post. I get it. I know how to write, but I've never done the process before. And I didn't know how to do the back end stuff. I loved the fact that I had an editor. I loved the fact that Jen and I worked so closely together on setting everything up from the tech behind the scenes of Amazon. All of those things mattered to me.
Yeah, it's so important to have, if you have the resources to be able to have somebody that knows what they're doing to do it for you. And this is something that you've created. I tell people, like, the book part is hard, right? To get it written and take the time to go slow and create all the content. But now you have this content forever. And sometimes people forget that to promote it again. So even 5 years from now, you should do a book signing. You should promote it again. I mean, you should never forget that you have this book because it's still relevant, especially the content that you have is still relevant forever.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
mindset and everything that you have there. So
yeah, books signings are on my list. I have a couple of places, local bookstores around me that I've put feelers out and emailed about. So I expect a couple of book signings in my future.
Good. Yeah. And definitely try and do some more podcasts and things like that. Now that you've done this one, you can already say that you're an expert. You've been on podcasts and you'll have some assets.
Yeah, I've done a couple of them and they're fun. It is a great way to market the book.
Yeah. And you get to do it from your house. It's even better. Absolutely. You don't even have to go anywhere. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah. Remember to get fundamentally frugal. Tell us where they can find you, your website and all of that.
I am on YouTube, Frozen Pennies, Sarah Conklin on YouTube. Either one will get you where you need to go. I have a website, frozenpennies.com, and you can buy the book anywhere books are sold.
Make sure you get it. Tons of content in today's day and age. We need to know how to be fundamentally frugal. I can tell you that. All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming. If you're looking to write a book like Sarah did and work with us, please join us at Elite Online Publishing. Go to our website and hit the author submission button, and we'll see if we're a good fit for you. Until then, keep writing, everybody, and we will see you next time. Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.